Well, ahoy, 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 all my viewers and listeners out there in YouTube land, in FM radio land. This is the Midnight Skeptic, and this is going to go out to the world on Sunday, May 18th at the usual time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And KPCA.FM goes out worldwide. So you listeners out there can get me all over the world. And locally here in Sonoma County, it's 103.3 FM. And we are part of Petaluma Community Access. We've been going strong at this radio station for 8 years. The 8th year anniversary was February 2nd of this year. And I've been doing it for that long. Okay, in my own small and humble way, I am trying my best to rid this country of all GOP MAGA heads, cruel and mean Republicans, hateful evangelical and fundamentalist Christians, and they are, by the way, who, by the way, have an outsized influence on our Republican Party in this country, unfortunately. Witness creepy Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who believes God created the whole universe roughly about 6,000 years ago. He believes in Noah's Ark. It was a real thing. And other Christian nonsense. With that, here is my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, this weekly rant, which I'm actually doing on Friday, the 16th of May, and it's about 11:20 right now. In this weekly rant, by the Midnight Skeptic, it might be a little bit disjointed, a little bit shorter than usual. I get 58 minutes, really, and sometimes I go over a little bit, which is not broadcast on the Sunday show, and sometimes I finish a bit early. This might be a bit early. I am in a kind of recovery mode. On Tuesday of this week, I had Mohs surgery, capital MOH''S. I think he was a German surgeon that came up with this method of removing skin growths. And I had a squamous cell growth right on the top of my head, back here. I can't even see it, but the Kaiser surgeon was first rate. And now I just have to let it heal, change the bandages, and go to my follow-up appointments with the Mohs surgery nurses. Okay, now, shout-outs. I'm going to do the shout-outs from May 4th, actually. Okay. La Dolce Vita Wine Lounge, owned by Sahar Garai. She's a Persian lady, and her wine lounge is in downtown Theater District here in Petaluma. Nariman, who is vacationing over in Turkey right now. Let's go sip some wine when you get back. John Crowley and the Aquas Cafe. Go to their website and see what events are coming up over there at the Aquas Cafe at 4th at H and 2nd Street in the Foundry Wharf area. He has game nights and ethnic dinners. Go to their calendar for community events. Mickey Huff and Project Censored. Mickey is back at, brain freeze on the college, but it's in Ithaca. Okay. Ithaca College. And he's in charge of some sort of communications department back there. And he still puts out the State of the Free Press 2025. Go to their website and order a copy. It's very interesting. Okay. And Mickey Huff promotes critical media literacy, as does Project Censored. Ralph Scott, he owns Squeaky Cheese Productions, an audiobook production company. Tom Gaffey at the Phoenix Theater. He is sort of the godfather of the alternative teens here in Petaluma. Rabbi Ted Feldman. He is retired now, but he was the rabbi at B'nai Israel. My late wife, she passed away in 2013, was Jewish. I am not. I am, if anything, anti-religion. But my wife and I went down to some of his classes, and it was very good. I learned a lot about the founding of Israel and Jewish beliefs and Zionism, which I have to confess I am not a big fan of. But Israel is there, and this conflict that keeps going on to the detriment of the Palestinian people is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And I met Art Kuznets through B'nai Israel. I lost my place. Damn it. Okay. Art Kuznets, met him. Okay. Now, the people that have indicated that occasionally they listen into this show. Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco, Stan and Kathy. I forgot to mention Tim Munnicky and his wife Julie, and then Dennis and Megan down in Tiburon. Kevin and Lori, Dave Takach, Tom and Nancy, Rich and Kathy. Okay. And down to L.A., Aunt Jackie and her two daughters, Samantha, kindergarten teacher, and Melanie. I don't know where she's living right now. And over in Arizona, my brother Brandon, his wife Mina, their daughter Andrea, my niece. She's an excellent nurse, and her husband Tim, retired Marine, booyah, and their 3 little boys. And okay, Arkansas, Shannon Reed. Florida, Nelson and Alice Liddell. He is a retired United States Public Health Service officer. His specialty was breathing apparatuses and face masks. And Amelia Beamer over on the east side of Florida. She is a novelist, an editor, and a representative of Focus magazine. If you go on YouTube, she's there letting you know what novels Focus is reviewing for this month of the 3 genres: science fiction, horror, and fantasy. Okay, and she's a mentor to budding novelists, of which I consider myself one. Okay, up to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, Dr. Dave Rubin, the world's finest pulmonary physician. And he's retired now. We used to room together back in the 70s, 1970s. He's pursuing an art career in his retirement years. Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger, my late wife's best friend, over to the West Coast and up Highway 108 to Sonora. Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher, and their 2 progeny, Brad and Martha, Darrell Larson, Judy May, Kathy Francis, and Lynn Quayle, who splits her time between Manhattan and Sonora. Wow. And then further up Highway 108 to John Gleason. It was a nice conversation we had the other day, and good luck with your move to Oregon. He has 2 daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer, who have said they occasionally listen in. And all the way down to Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete, who is not a big fan of Claudia Scheinbaum. I am a fan of hers because she stands up to the orange sociopathic bloat bag, and she's beginning a new era in Mexico. She will be good for Mexico, and she's transforming it into a modern world power, really. Okay. Sip time. Okay. Good news. And I've told my listeners that I always try my best to start off with good news on these weekly rants. I don't enjoy bumming people out, but there is bad news floating around. Okay, but this is good news. Democrat John Ewing Jr. defeated GOP incumbent in the Omaha, Nebraska mayor's race. The Midwest voters are beginning to awaken to the danger that the bronzed buffoon is having for them. Good news, more good news. Federal appellate court halts ban in Florida on Hamburger Mary's drag shows, which are not really drag shows, but a Florida bill, Senate Bill 1438, banned drag performances. And Republicans think any guy that wears a female costume, whether it's a Shakespeare play or any other kind of performance, is drag. And it upsets the children. We're protecting the children. That's the Republicans' argument for that. Okay. Jimbo is the stage name of this guy who does performances in costume. And they're non-sexual. I mean, they're just performances and dressed up as a female. There's nothing wrong with that. They're non-sexual acts. And a little bit about Hamburger Mary's. They began in San Francisco, and I ate a number of hamburgers there. They're a great restaurant. And they were down on the South of Market area, if you're familiar with San Francisco. And I've taken friends there. And it's, well, I don't know, kind of a strange clientele, let's put it that way. But nothing really dangerous or anything. They're just, the whole outfit at Hamburger Mary's is basically a performance. Okay, enough of that. Bad news. It had to come. In March 2023, Oklahoma GOPers in the state legislature formally censured Representative Mauree Turner, who's a Democrat. And I apologize to my listeners. I'm not sure exactly what they're claiming he did. But Mauree, M-A-U-R-E-E, is an openly non-binary state legislator. And he's the first Muslim lawmaker in Oklahoma. I guess that was enough to get him censured. I'm going to try to find out what he said or did to get this censure from the idiot Republicans. Okay. Bad pre-2000 news. Susan Kimberly, who's now 80, in 1983 came out as transgender in St. Paul, Minnesota, and presided over its city council. Both GOP and Democrats embraced her. 10 years later, she was made deputy mayor by a GOP mayor, mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota. We aren't going to see that anymore. Okay, bad and good brave news. Leanne Withrow came out as transgender woman in 2016, a year before the orange sociopathic bloat bag first signed his anti-trans military ban. She enlisted in 2010 and now is a civilian employee for the Illinois National Guard. There are about 4,500, roughly, trans personnel in the armed forces that the orange sociopathic bloat bag is targeting and is now before the Supreme Court. That 4,500 trans personnel in the armed forces represents 0.2%. That's 0.2% that the Republican Party is obsessing over. And believe me, they're obsessing. But anyway, it's before the Supreme Court now. And this article that I got all this from was from Time Magazine, May 9th, 25. The article was written by Solcyre. Oh, I'll spell this for you. Capital Solcyre with a little accent above the E. Burga. She's a writer for Time magazine. Okay. Historic bad news. The fight for transgender inclusion in the military is not really a recent thing. It goes back decades. Okay, now here's a case. Von Hofburg versus Alexander, 1997. Marie von Hofburg, who was a WAC. Now, that is WAC, Women's Army Corps. It's no longer used in the Army. It's just women are in the Army. No big deal. But she was a WAC back in the day. And she was discharged for marrying a former WAC who transitioned to a man after being discharged from the Army. Fraud for housing allowance for von Hofburg was alleged because, well, two women can't be married. The Army ruled her hubby was really female. They were lesbians and were in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. All right, case number 2, Doe, D-O-E, versus Alexander in 1976. An Air Force veteran who had gender-confirming surgery after leaving the service and wanted to re-up as an Army Reserve officer. He was rejected because of he changed his sex. And they interpreted that, meaning the Air Force, interpreted that as a gonadal abnormality, which, eliminates you from being in the service or joining the service. In the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Regulations 40-501 equals genital abnormality, which would eliminate you from joining the armed forces. So, okay. Third case, Leyland versus Orr, 1982. Jane Leyland, who was an Air Force reservist, honorably discharged because of unfitness, physically and psychologically, after gender confirmation surgery. Air Force Regulations 160-43 equals defects in genitalia because of the surgery. I guess the Air Force surgeons are not good enough to create a penis. Whew. Okay, here's some really bad news. In Georgia, that fount of progressivism, bad news in Georgia healthcare. Their pathways to coverage, the Georgia Medicaid work requirement is an experiment to decrease the state's high rate of uninsured adults and keeping down state expenditures. Luke Sorborn, a low-income mechanic, is done with it. For this article, they interviewed him. He was on it, the Georgia healthcare plan, for less than a year and was canceled twice due to bureaucratic red tape. Governor Kemp has spent millions on ads to convince Georgia's citizens to enroll on their Georgia health plan. Georgia citizens have to log in their work hours on a government form and submit paperwork every month proving they had fulfilled Georgia requirements for eligibility and annual income statements. Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services administers the program, and there are plenty of frustrations. Deloitte, capital DELOITTE, Consulting is, quote unquote, helping the Department of Family and Child Services with building, managing, and marketing the program. Only 3% of residents have enrolled. Georgia is the only state to have a work requirement for its Medicaid program. Outreach to black citizens is poor and in need of public relations. So Georgia handed Deloitte Consulting, are you ready for this? A $10.7 million contract for the TV ads, the ads on NFL games. And this is how Republicans roll. They spread money out to rich corporations and make it difficult for citizens to get the health care that they need. Okay. Bad news. Okay. Texas Senate passes Senate Bill 10 that would require all public school classrooms in the state to display the 10 Commandments. The same translation as is on the monument at the Texas Capitol there in Austin. Sneaky Christians are just trying to erase the separation of church and state. Oh boy, I've been at this for about a half an hour now, and I'm honestly not feeling all that well in my recovery mode. So I'm going to kind of freelance this and beg your forgiveness. So, first of all, let me play my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, and we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Okay, if you've got a few bucks flying around, go on to Patreon and look up Petaluma Community Access and send a few bucks their way. And on my shout outs, I keep forgetting to give a shout out to Rob Tomaszewski, the station manager, who initially signed me up way back on February 2nd, 8 years ago. But got to give him a shout out. He's kept the whole thing together. As far as religion goes, I realize that it can be a comfort to people who just surrender their ability to think logically, rationally, scientifically. And I'm not in favor of that, but there is no Word of God that is in these holy books, whether it be the various translations of the Bible, the Quran, the Mishnah, the Torah, or any of the holy books of of Buddhism or of Hinduism. None of them are the word of some God. It is all from the minds of men who have decided to use religion for their own benefit. One of the benefits is the control of women. I have said before on many shows that all religions are misogynistic, and they're not going to change. It's just that women have to rise up and say, hey, wait a minute. Why are men controlling us like they are? And there's a feeling about sex, and this is mainly in the Christian religion, and I'm not clear about Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., and their attitudes towards sex. But I know that in the Christian religion, especially the more conservative Christian sects, like the Southern Baptist Convention, the Mormon Church, the Catholic Church, that they are all kind of obsessed with sex. Priests in the Catholic Church take a vow of celibacy, and they're supposed to tamp down their sexual urges. A lot of them can't. And in the Southern Baptist Convention, a lot of the pastors supposedly are uh, the guys who are more pure and uh, sexually abstinent than the others, but there are plenty. And like I've said on shows recently, I'm just not going to talk about all the arrests that have been made recently of pastors and preachers and priests um, diddling children because there's just too many of them. And I'd waste all my time doing that. And um, and it's uh, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not out of it. Uh, there were a few arrests way back when. Um, and Mormon youth pastors were arrested. And sexual urges are a very powerful motivator for guys mainly. And they're paying the price for their hypocrisy. So, okay, that's my off the cuff rant for this May 16th. And I will see you all next week, or you'll hear me next week. In the month of May, it will be the next week to the end. So I will record another one of these rants, and I hope that next week it will be much, much better. So, until next week, take care, everybody. Okay, I forgot to click stop recording.